Scene. It's a late evening, and the wind is howling through the dense forest. The full moon casts eerie shadows, and a massive train speeds along the tracks. The sound of the train wheels clattering is loud, but suddenly, a new sound cuts through the night, the unmistakable, terrifying sound of claws scraping metal. EXT Train Tracks Night. Narrator VO. On this dark night, as the train thundered through the wilderness, an unexpected force of nature emerged from the shadows. We see the train speeding along, the metal gleaming under the moonlight. Suddenly, a flash of movement streaks across the scene. Cut to a massive, muscular bear, its fur matted with the rain and dirt of the forest, claws extended, pounces onto the side of the train. The sound of its claws scraping the metal reverberates through the air. Narrator VO. A creature as old as the forest itself, driven by instinct, not hunger, but fury. The bear rakes its claws down the side of the train with immense force. The metal screeches, sparks flying off, as the bear leaves deep, jagged marks along the train.
Cut to
close-up of the scratches. The bear's claws have left long, visible gouges in the train's steel exterior, each mark a testament to the power and strength of the beast. Narrator VO. Each scratch, a reminder of the primal fury that lurks in the wilderness, waiting to be unleashed. The bear growls, a low rumble that shakes the surrounding trees. It seems to be taunting the train, daring it to continue its path. Cut to inside the train. Passengers are startled by the noise. Some are frightened, others press their faces against the windows, trying to catch a glimpse of the mysterious creature. Passenger 1. Whispering. What is that sound? Passenger 2. It's coming from outside. Is that a bear?
Cut to
The bear continues to claw at the train as it speeds by, the scratches growing longer and deeper. It's as if the beast is marking its territory, unwilling to let the train pass unscathed. Narrator VO. The bear's rage is not just against the metal, but against the intrusion of its land. The wild will never be tamed. Narrator VO. As the train retreats into the unknown, so too does the creature. But it is not the end. The wilderness, vast and untamed, watches and waits. In the distance, a pair of glowing eyes can be seen watching from the treeline. The bear stands there, motionless, its breath heavy in the cold night air. Its massive form fades into the shadows once again.
Cut to int
Train night. The passengers are still in shock, the noise of the train's engine drowning out the fear in the cabin. Some look at each other, unsure of what just happened. Passenger 1. Still shaken. Did that really just happen? Passenger 2. It was a bear. But it wasn't normal. I've never heard anything like that before. Passenger 3. Staring out the window.
Look.
It's gone now, but those marks on the side of the train. The camera focuses on the window, where we can see faint but noticeable scratches starting to fade in the distance, like ghostly scars.
Cut to
EXT Train Tracks Night. The train moves farther into the forest, its lights cutting through the thick darkness. The camera lingers on the spots where the bear had clawed the train, the gouges still visible, marking the metal like a warning. Narrator VO. The scars remain. Evidence of the encounter, hidden in the forest's depths. A fleeting moment in time, or perhaps a harbinger of something more. Suddenly, we hear the faint growl of the bear echoing through the trees, followed by a series of loud thumps as if it's pacing the train's path.
Cut to int
Train night. The conductor, a rugged man in his 40s, stands in front of the control panel, his eyes flicking nervously toward the rearview mirrors. He's sweating, his hands gripping the wheel tighter. Conductor. Into intercom. All passengers, please stay calm. We've encountered some wildlife. Nothing to worry about. Please remain in your seats. The intercom crackles, but the conductor's voice lacks confidence. He knows something's wrong. Outside, the thumping continues, too rhythmic to be random.
Cut to
EXT Train Night. The camera zooms in on the rear of the train, where faint paw prints can be seen on the tracks leading from the tree to the train's last known position. Narrator VO. The beast follows. Not just for a moment, but for as long as the path will lead. The train is no longer an intruder. It is the hunted. In the distance, the silhouette of the bear emerges again, walking along the tracks, its eyes glowing faintly in the moonlight. It seems determined, relentless, like a shadow hunting its prey.
Cut to int.
Train night. The passengers grow increasingly nervous as the train begins to slow. There's an unsettling stillness in the air, a tension that thickens by the second. Passenger 1. Voice trembling. Why are we slowing down? The conductor's hand tightens on the brake lever as he looks out into the dark night ahead. Suddenly, a sharp screech echoes through the train, and a loud thud shakes the carriage. Everyone gasps, and the lights flicker. Conductor. Urgent. Hold on, everyone. Brace yourselves. The train lurches violently, as if something massive is pushing against it from the side.
Cut to
EXT. Train night. The bear, now in full fury, lunges again at the train. Its claws strike the side with a deafening sound. The metal shrieks in agony as the beast's power meets the steel. Narrator VO. Not just a creature of the wild, but a force of nature itself. This bear is not seeking food or shelter. It seeks vengeance, a primal need to protect what it calls its own. The bear claws deeper into the side of the train, pulling at the metal with all its might.
Cut to int.
Train night. The train shakes again, this time harder. The passengers scream as the sound of claws scraping against the steel fills the cabin.
Passenger 2.
Terrified. We're not going to make it, are we? Passenger 3. Looking out the window, whispering. It's too close. It's right there. Through the window, we can see the bear's massive silhouette, its claws leaving deep marks in the train's surface, the beast moving with terrifying speed.
Cut to
XT. Train night. The bear lets out a mighty roar that echoes through the night. It pauses for a moment, its glowing eyes piercing the dark. Narrator VO. For the bear, this night is not just a battle. It is a testament to the raw power that exists beyond the human world, a reminder that no machine, no matter how strong, can ever truly tame the wild. Narrator VO. In the silence that follows, the question remains. Will the bear let its fury subside? Or is this just the beginning of its relentless pursuit? The camera lingers on the train, now barely moving forward. The sky is darker than before, the moon casting a faint glow on the tracks. Suddenly, the sound of a distant howl echoes through the trees.
Cut to int.
Train night. Inside the train, the atmosphere is tense. Passengers huddle in fear, some standing in the aisles, others gripping their seats. The intercom crackles to life again. Conductor. Urgently. We're going to need to stop. Prepare for an emergency stop. I repeat, an emergency stop. The passengers exchange nervous glances, fear rising in their eyes. Passenger 1. Whispering, terrified. What's happening? Why are we stopping?
Passenger 2.
Eyes wide. It's that bear, it's still out there. It's not letting us go. The camera zooms in on the windows, where dark shadows move just beyond the train. The shape of the bear can be seen in the trees, its eyes glowing with an eerie, unnatural light.
Cut to
XT. Train night. The train comes to a screeching halt, the wheels grinding as it stops dead in its tracks. The train shakes, and a heavy silence falls over the scene. The bear, now closer, emerges from the trees, its massive form silhouetted against the moonlight. It slowly approaches the train, its claws scraping against the gravel, leaving deep grooves. Narrator VO. The bear, relentless, unstoppable, has cornered its prey. No escape, no safe haven. Only the cold, relentless grasp of the wild. The camera focuses on the bear's glowing eyes, its growl low and menacing as it takes another step toward the stationary train.
Cut to int.
Train night. The passengers are frozen in terror, clutching their seats, their faces pale. A few passengers peer nervously out of the windows, watching the beast approach. Passenger 3. Whispering. It's right there, it's coming. The train suddenly jolts as the bear scratches at the side again. The metal screeches in protest, sparks flying. The passengers scream, some dropping to the floor. Conductor. Panicking to himself. It's too strong, we can't outrun it. We need to do something. The conductor runs toward the emergency panel, eyes wild with fear.
Cut to
XT, train night. The bear claws at the train with a primal force, its massive paws tearing at the exterior. The noise is deafening as the train's metal begins to buckle under the pressure. Narrator, VO. The balance between man and nature is delicate, fragile. The bear, with its primal instincts, sees no difference between the machine and the forest. It is all the same. Suddenly, the bear stops, its head jerking up as if it senses something. The camera pans up to reveal a large figure in the distance. Cut to EXT, train tracks, night. The distant figure emerges from the shadows, a second bear, much larger than the first. It's as if the forest itself has sent its guardian to join the fray. The two bears stare at each other for a brief moment before the second bear lumbers toward the train. Narrator, VO. What was once a solitary force of nature has now become a united front. Together, these creatures will defend their territory. Together, they will ensure that the wild cannot be tamed. The two bears begin to work in sync, their powerful claws now attacking the train from both sides. The passengers scream in horror as the metal of the train creaks and groans under the combined assault.
Cut to int.
Train night. The conductor is at the emergency control panel, desperately trying to engage the safety systems. The train shakes violently again as another screech echoes from outside. Conductor. Gritting his teeth. We're losing control. I have to get us moving now. He pulls a lever, and the train jerks forward with a sudden burst of speed. The two bears are momentarily left behind as the train moves, but their pursuit is far from over. Cut to EXT, train night. The train speeds down the tracks, but the bears, determined, follow in pursuit, their growls and roars echoing through the night. Their claws leave long, deep scratches as they race alongside the train. Narrator, VO. The chase is not over. The bear's rage cannot be outrun, for it is not just a beast, it is a force of nature. And no machine, no matter how fast or strong, can ever hope to escape the wild. The camera pulls back, showing the train speeding along the tracks, the two bears now running just behind, their forms mere shadows in the night. Narrator, VO. The hunt continues. A battle between the wild and the man-made. The machine, desperate to escape, and the wild, relentless, demanding its due. The camera focuses on the bears' powerful strides as they chase the train, their eyes glowing like twin embers in the darkness. One of the bears claws at the side of the train again, sending another shockwave of noise through the air. The sound is deafening, almost overwhelming. Cut to
int.
Train night. Inside, the passengers are gripped with terror, some holding onto their seats, others whispering prayers. The conductor, sweat dripping from his forehead, grips the controls tightly, his knuckles white. Conductor. Gritting his teeth. We have to get to the next station, just hold on. Please. The train picks up speed, but the growls of the bears outside grow louder. A constant reminder that no matter how fast the train goes, the beasts are gaining.
Passenger 1. Panicked.
Are they still following us?
Passenger 2.
Nods, staring out the window.
Yes.
I can see them. They won't stop. Passenger 3. Frightened. What if we don't make it to the station? Conductor. Under his breath. We have no choice, we have to. The train shakes violently again as one of the bears leaps at the rear end of the train, its claws raking across the metal with a deafening screech. Sparks fly from the damage, the sound so intense it almost feels like an explosion.
Cut to
EXT, train night. The camera shifts to show the train's back, where one of the bears is clinging to the side, its claws digging deep into the steel as it tries to climb aboard. The second bear runs parallel to the train, its eyes locked on its prey. Narrator, VO. No mercy. No fear. The beasts are not merely hunting for food. They are fighting to reclaim what is theirs. The first bear roars, slamming its paw into the side of the train again, shaking the structure. The metal bends under the strain, and the train shudders as though it might break apart at any moment.
Cut to int.
Train night. The passengers are now panicked, screaming as the train rocks violently. The conductor, fighting to maintain control, pulls a lever to increase the speed even more. The train lurches forward, surging ahead on the tracks. Conductor, shouting, "Hold on, we're almost there." The train's lights flicker, and a loud thud echoes through the cabin. Another bear claw strike. The noise is deafening. Passenger 1, screaming, "We're gonna die. We're gonna die." The conductor's face is filled with determination, his eyes glued to the track ahead. He presses harder on the throttle, pushing the train to its limits. Conductor, under his breath, "Come on, just a little more."
Cut to
EXT train night. The second bear, now enraged, leaps at the side of the train, its claws scraping the metal violently as it attempts to latch onto the train. Sparks fly as its claws tear into the structure, the train's speed barely keeping it ahead. Narrator, VO. But even the strongest of machines can be outpaced by the fury of nature. The wild will not be denied. As the train speeds ahead, the bears continue their pursuit, but something changes. The second bear, realizing it cannot keep up, pulls away from the tracks, its roar echoing one last time into the night. The first bear, though, remains determined, its claws still biting into the train's side.
cut to int.
Train night. The conductor's eyes widen in realization as he spots the flashing lights of a station in the distance.
Conductor,
Relieved, shouting, "There! We're almost there." The station is a tiny speck of light in the distance, but the sight fills everyone on board with a renewed sense of hope.
passenger 2,
Voice trembling. Is that the station? Passenger 3, crying with relief. "We're going to make it." The train races toward the station, the bears slowly fading into the distance. The first bear is still trying to claw at the train's rear, but its strength is waning as the station approaches.
cut to
EXT train night. The station looms ahead, and the train's brakes engage, screeching as the train slides toward the platform. The first bear growls in frustration as it slows its pursuit, realizing the train is escaping. It watches, its eyes burning with rage. Narrator, VO. The chase for now is over. But the wild is never far behind. As the train skids to a halt at the station, the bear turns and disappears into the trees, retreating into the wilderness it calls home.
cut to int.
Train night. The passengers, still shaken but safe, exhale in relief. The conductor, panting and drenched in sweat, looks out the window, watching as the bear disappears into the darkness. For a moment, everything is still.
Conductor,
Breathing heavily. We made it, but that was too close. The train comes to a complete stop, and the sound of the night returns, distant winds, the quiet rustling of trees. But the tension lingers in the air. Narrator, VO. In the end, the wild has its way. For even in the face of machines, nature endures. The forest is patient, and it will always be watching. The camera pulls back from the train, showing the forest beyond, silent, vast, and unknowable.